Well, it's been a hot minute, but back in September, I asked you to ask me anything, and now we're getting around to the answers. DMG says, how many decks do I go through in a year? Well, because of taxes, we know it's about 2,500 to 3,000 just for my shows and practice. And I can't even imagine how many decks we go through when we add in the VIP show, because we give away decks at all the shows as part of the ticket price. So I don't even know. I can't even imagine 50, 60, I would say 5,000, 6,000 decks. It's got to be like 5,000. I'm going to say 5,000 decks of cards a year, because personally I go through 2,500. And I know that the VIPs are 70, even 100. We've done VIP shows where the 100 decks go out. So it's up there. It's a lot. Andrew says, who are the number 2 and number 3 in what I do? Well, obviously I'm the best. Number 2 is Jason Ladani. He's from New York. Kind of an asshole, but he's good. And number 3 is this guy, Jason Ladani. Man, he's good. He's really good. It's the quality of the content is really what it's about. And then anything under that is a cheap imitation that's actually been ripped off from this page. Because if you go back far enough, you'll see that it appeared on my channel first. And then we get the parasites after that. So anyway, 1, 2, and 3 I would say would be Jason Ladani. Bicycle working tool. How do you keep yourself organized? Which tools or methods of personal organization are you using? Believe it or not, let's just get all the alcohol out of the way. I'm pretty old school, and I have these all over the house. Like every room there's a stack of legal pads. You get ideas for tricks, you get ideas for challenges. Someone asks, do this, do this, do this, do this. And at first you read it and you go, what is he talking about? And then suddenly you start to put it together. So that idea can happen anytime throughout the day. So you want to be able to write that down. So between my notes app and making lists all the time. I know it's old school, but that's how you do it. And also you have to go back and reread this stuff. Who cares if you take a note in your phone or something? You have to reread and constantly transfer those notes onto your computer, write it up, practice it, work on it. So it's not good enough just to jot things down. It's going back and rereading. So legal pads are everything, and they're everywhere. There should always be. There's 3 on this table right now, and 5 bottles of wine. But that's how I stay organized. Do I play any sports? Golf. I played golf every day for like 12 years straight. And then I quit for like 7 or 8 years. So even more than that now. My brother played golf, got me into it as well. I started when I was about 15. And I would consider myself a scratch golfer in the sense that, you're playing every day. You're playing the same course every day. So the yardages are very familiar. You understand the greens inside and out. And I could easily shoot even on the front, 2, 3 over on the back or something like that. But I quit. There's a certain expectation that comes with golf, and when you have a couple bad rounds, I just felt like I'm being robbed by outside elements in golf. You hit a sprinkler head and you're in the woods and suddenly you have an 11, I thought and I felt when I practice cards, I always get better. There's no outside element that's ruining that. If I put money in the bank every day, it's always more money. But with golf, you can put time in and time in and time in, and suddenly you're shooting 107. And you're like, what is going on? So that bothered me a lot, and I quit because of that. How do I come up with original magic? It's your imagination. You can do anything. You can just dream up anything in your head. And then the hard part is figuring out how to do it. So I see other magicians struggle with this too. They can't, there's no creativity. I've never really struggled with that. I have a lot of ideas and I'm very open. Like I said earlier about taking notes, you just create a new premise and then go with it. But for some magicians, I've noticed that they just can't get out of doing the same cliche magic things, an ace assembly or card to pocket or card at any number. Like, let's change it up a little bit, right? Anyway, I've never struggled with it. I imagine it and then I create it. Brutal Gear says, do I like using fresh cards or used, more broken in cards? Great question, because I used to be a used deck kind of guy. I wanted cards that were broken a little bit and weren't so slippery. And I felt like the cards did what I wanted them to do when they were broken in. And then I met Darwin Ortiz, my teacher, and he said, no, brand new cards only, because they're consistent. Out of the box, every single time, they're the same way every single time. And I remember we disagreed on this, and I said, nah, man, I think broken in cards are the way to go. And then like a year later or something like that, I was doing a show and like nothing was working. The cards were giving me trouble because they were worn in too much, you know? So I came to him and I said, man, I messed up these like 4 or 5 things. And he said, start using new cards. And then from that day on, now I prefer brand new cards right out of the box. When I do my shows, we're opening those decks up either on stage, ripping the shrink wrap off right there, or right before we go on, I open them up. Because I want a consistent deck that's exactly the same thing every single time. That's it. I like brand new. What is the least favorite card trick that I perform at my shows? I don't have a least favorite. They're quite literally all my favorites. Each one's your little baby. You know what actually you asked least favorite at my shows on YouTube? Obviously at my shows, I'm just doing nothing but my favorites. I enjoy them immensely. They've held up over the years. They don't get old. They're very enjoyable and very satisfying to perform. But on YouTube, the thing that on YouTube is rather annoying is when you do a trick and then somebody says something stupid, inevitably. Do it again, but do this, right? And it's like, all right. So you do it again, but in that video, someone says, oh, do it again, but now do it, so you do it again, and then someone, oh, do it again, but this. And you're like, it's the same, I've done the same trick like 5 times. I don't know why people still watch the thing. And the thing that they're adding, the new element, is so stupid to begin with. So that can be a little bit annoying because you can't answer all those people that move the goalposts, and they're not even moving the goalposts in any meaningful manner. So it's not that it's annoying, it's just like, I wonder, is my audience gonna watch this for the 7th time now that I'm doing it with a blue deck, blindfolded, So with my left hand instead, that's, so far it's worked, nobody's really complained about it. But I often have to start the video by saying, welcome back to another episode of here's the same trick we've seen 5 times this week with a tiny minor change. But people seem to like it, so who cares? Justin asks, can I turn off my tracking abilities or am I always aware of where certain cards are? It depends on how much is in the pot. That's the honest to God truth. Do I play cards with friends? Yes. There's 2 people that I enjoy playing with that know that I'm not there to cheat. And even if I win 3 or 4 times in a row, they start getting a little like, you sure you're you sure you're playing straight, Jay? Yeah. Tay Lang, which legendary card men have I met? I've met, Richard Turner and I have spoken on the phone a few times. Steve Forty, I met in Vegas a couple years ago. And of course, Darwin Ortiz was my mentor for over 20 years. Bill Malone. I've met, at 4F convention in Buffalo, there's be a lot of heavy hitters there. And at conventions that I've been at the past, David Blaine, I've met him. You'll have an opportunity to meet people. Copperfield was, when I was younger, he's part of the reason that I do magic. I saw that show when I was 8 years old. So I was very honored to meet David and chat for a minute. So yeah, Ricky, I didn't get to meet Ricky. I saw Ricky, but I didn't get to meet him. So that's about it as far as big influences go. Silence and Violence says, what are my top 5 playing card decks to use? Obviously, the OG, Bicycles. I like Bees. I like Tally-Hoes. I like Aristocrats. And Apollo playing cards. Look at those, they're gorgeous. Yeah, there you go.